Hey folks, welcome to Seawaywhiskywire. Tonight on the bar, we've got the Diony Rum Cask Finished Canadian Rye Whiskey. Stay tuned. Well, hey folks, thanks for coming back after the intro. I'm Tyler, and tonight at the bar we've got ourselves the Diony Rum Cask Finished Canadian Rye Whiskey. And full disclosure, guys, this was sent to me from the folks out at Diony Distillery, way out there in Red Deer, Alberta, Canada. So guys, thank you so much for sending this over to the channel for me to take a look at. I've been picking away and working my way through it here, and I'm ready to review this expression from you guys. Let's get right into the overview on the Diony Rum Cask Finished Canadian Rye Whiskey. So starts off with the ABV stamp. We come in with a healthy ABV stamp of 50% ABV, non-gel filtered, no color added, just the way we like it, guys. And it comes in with a mash bill of 65% rye, 25% roasted barley, and 10% oats, which is very, very interesting. Age on this one, they don't post it on the actual bottle here, but it is aged for 42 months. And they use new American oak casks with the number 3 char, and they finish it for 6 months in old rum casks. Yeah, very nice. They sent me a Mickey over here, so I don't have the full-size bottle, but I'm going to go into the presentation because I do like the presentation they have here. It's a pretty slick-looking bottle, and made even slicker by the etching here. I didn't when I was communicating with them, I had not made the decision to switch logos yet, but it has my old original Seawaywhiskywire logo, and I really appreciate them etching that on this lovely bottle of the Rum Cask Finished Canadian Rye Whiskey as they did here. As far as the information that's on their standard bottle there, you get some nice tasting notes, you get some lovely profile of the texture and kind of what goes into the making the spirits. So overall, very great, very elegant overall look. I love the way it is here, and yeah, if you buy the full-size bottle, you definitely get lots of great information out there. But yeah, they do a nice job in their marketing, and I really appreciate that. So let's get into the color here and get into the pour. I'm gonna pop the top on this healthy cork on this little Mickey here they sent me. Pour a nice dram of the Rum Cask Finish Canadian Rye. A little swirl around the glass there, and we'll go in for a close look here on the color. So I mean, you're pulling a natural color, natural presentation from Diony. You're getting a lot of color from those casks. Number 3 char on the new American oak, plus the the tannins from the wood really impacting that in that 42-month aging process, and then 6 months finished in a rum cask. They don't specify was white rum, dark rum. If anybody knows, feel free to stick that in the comments. Maybe somebody from Diony's out there checking out this video. Hopefully they are, because I'm tagging them in it, and they can explain or kind of tell us a little bit more about that rum barrel finish there. But I definitely think that the number 3 char on those new American oaks is playing a big role in there and imparting some lovely color in that dark gold amber. Yeah, some nice legs on it too as well. All right, let's get into the nose and see what we can get out of this Diony Rum Cask Finished Canadian Rye Whiskey. That's a mouthful, and I'm gonna have a mouthful of it right after I do the nose. So let's go on to the nose, guys. So one thing I do really notice from Diony, especially when they're using that roasted barley grain in the process there, it makes it very dusty. Not dusty in a bad way. It's more earthy, more cereally, more hayfield kind of notes to it there. But you definitely get that those hint of like dusty fields, earth, like dirt, chocolate, like cocoa powder, coffee grounds, all kind of things like that. So that's kind of in the front and kind of on the nose all throughout. But then behind that, I'm getting some lovely honey, some really nice amber honey. I get vanilla on there, that apple cider, or not apple cider, but maybe like an apple, like a Granny Smith green apple in there. Then it gets into those darkness, the dark brown sugars, the dark chocolates, the leathers, the dusty grain. And then there's some orange on there too. And then there's kind of like this tropical piece to it. The oranges are kind of mango, pineapple, maybe a tad of banana in there, and then it's kind of all tied together. You got that chocolate and dusty fields, honey, vanilla. Yeah, a lot happened in this nose. And I didn't mention it, but 50%, and I'm not having any issues with it singeing my nose hairs or anything like that. It's there's no ethanol burned to it there too. It's got a nice bit of age on it there, that 42 months. Yeah, nice nose for sure. All right, well, like I said, I'm gonna have a mouthful in a second here, let's get into the palate and the taste, and so we can pull out of this Diony rum cask finish Canadian rye whiskey. So cheers to your health, and let's get into it. First off, pretty good mouthfeel. It's coming in hot at the back there. We'll get into that in a minute. Pretty good mouthfeel at 50%. It's not overly mouth coating or thick. It does stick to the walls of your mouth there, but then it starts kind of to fade. Pretty decent flavors, really. First off, vanilla is very heavy, honey very heavy, apple very heavy. Granny Smith green apples, heather honey, vanilla. And then this kind of dark aspect of it kind of kicks in. That's where those brown sugars come in. That's where that coffee comes in. So a little bit of that dark chocolate note comes in. Go for one more sip. And behind that, kind of mid to late transition. You get that kind of orange, mango, maybe a bit of like apricot or maybe even like a papaya kind of thing going on there. It's kind of tropical. Got some interesting character to it. And then it's just like the rye gets turned up to like 8. And you get this white pepper, this rye spice, this mint herbaceous note to it, kind of a dilly, grassy fields piece, and then some oak in there too, and it just kind of keeps going. It goes deep and it goes long, and it's a big part of the flavor profile. You've got this kind of light entry into this kind of, you got this well-rounded, light entry of like apples, orchard fruit. You've got that honey and that vanilla. Then you dip your toes kind of into that coffee, dark chocolate, brown sugar, demerara kind of aspect to it. A little bit of tropical, and then it hits you with that rye spice. And it doesn't, pack a wallop from a ABV standpoint. It's not aggressive in that aspect. It's just there's a lot of grassy. There's a lot of like peppery notes, a lot of rye spice notes, that kind of grassy, herbaceous piece on the back end there. But yeah, overall, fairly good transitional whiskey here. If those are the kind of profiles you like, if you're a big rye whiskey fan, I think this is something you would like there. If you're into those kind of more herbaceous, grassy notes of a rye, I think it definitely would sing to you. The roasted barley is kind of where I have my kind of hims and haws about it there. I'm not overly a fan of roasted barley just because I find it's very like it's very prevalent, and it doesn't really help highlight the spirit. I find it just kind of adds its own character notes to it there, and just makes them more prominent, like the chocolate and the stuff like that. Not that I don't like those flavor notes, I just prefer to kind of have a better rounded version of the distillate. But it definitely amps up the flavor profile for sure in this whiskey. Let's go into the finish on the Diony rum cask finish Canadian rye whiskey and see if I can pull anything out of it or give you my final notes on it before we move into the value proposition. So I'm going to go in for one more sip, guys. Dusty fields and all that good stuff. Very nice. So right off the get-go, ABV stamp of 50%, but it is a medium finish. Mouthfeel pretty good, fairly mouth coating. Sweet into spicy, kind of with a little bit of tropical note to it there too, which I guess would be kind of from the rum casks, or that's kind of the profile they were kind of going for, is that little bit of tropical aspect to it there. It's not like as tropical as something even say like a Glenmorangie 10, where you get those kind of mango fruit notes, or even the Lagavulin Offerman edition that uses rum casks there. It's not that over the top kind of more, actually it's over the top, that more standardized kind of more rum character that you would get. It's just kind of in there, but it's fairly muted, and the darker fruits, or the darker chocolates and brown sugars and such play a key role in that, the coffee and such, and then you get that herbaceous note at the end there. So if those profiles, if that flavor profile sings to you, this is definitely one you want to check out. We'll get into the value proposition now. And this is, I think, where you can really make your decision on this particular release. Again, I've already disclosed it, but I'll redisclose it again. Folks over at Diony, thank you guys very much. Sent me a bunch of samples over to the channel for review, honest opinions, and I appreciate them, welcoming those opinions, and I'm going to give them to you right now. So if you were to buy a full-size bottle of this rum cask finish here, you can get on their website for $125 plus taxes. If you're not in the area, you'll obviously have to pay shipping on that too. I think it's a tasty expression. I think you need to try some of this again. The roasted barley profile is not for everybody. Am I a fan of it? It comes and goes. Sometimes it all depends on my mood, I think, more so than anything else. I just find it's just kind of, again, it pushes you into those kind of darker chocolate, coffee, tobacco notes and stuff like that, brown sugar, demerara sugar notes. And it's nothing wrong with that. I just have to be in the right mood for it. So if it's something that doesn't really sing to you, I would say you should probably try a little bit of this before you go out and pay the $125 plus for the bottle. But again, I think it's a pretty tasty dram. It's a tasty product, an integrity product coming from a Canadian distillery that is doing some pretty interesting things in my opinion. And yeah, really appreciate them sending over the channel for me to take a look at. So yeah, that's my review of the Diony rum cask finished Canadian rye whiskey. Thanks again, guys, for sending that over to the channel. Really appreciate it, and got some more Diony coming up relatively shortly as we progress through these summer months. And if you guys like what we're doing here at Seaway Whiskey Wire, you guys know that drill. Like and subscribe down below. And hey, don't forget to check me out on Instagram at Seaway Whiskey Wire for more content. And if you guys are still hanging around this long in the video, watching me enjoy this Integrity Canadian whiskey here, thank you guys very much. Really appreciate it. Love coming down to the basement after a long day of work and making these videos, shooting them out, and trying some great Canadian expressions here from some distilleries that, maybe aren't as well known as some of the other ones, but, need to be paid attention to and are probably worth your time to check out and partake in a little bit of samplings across the Canadian landscape. So I'll leave you guys with that. All the best, guys. Take care. I'll see you around. Bye for now.